Welcome to America Live, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. The president is in Detroit, Michigan at this hour, touring a Daimler auto plant. The appearance is part of an attempt to pressure Republicans to accept his plan to both raise taxes and add billions in new stimulus spending. But literally just a few miles away, an embarrassing story is developing with a company the taxpayers put a lot of dough into. It's called A123. That's a car battery maker. They supplied batteries for electric cars that filed for bankruptcy after burning through almost $200 million of your stimulus money. Here is the president praising that company in happier times.
I am calling to congratulate A123 Systems on this tremendous milestone. As you said, thanks to the Recovery Act, you guys are the first American factory to start high-volume production of advanced vehicle batteries.
Well, today we're learning that this battery company is being purchased by the Chinese. That same company that burned all that stimulus money is now in the hands of the people who loaned us some of the money that the federal government had in the first place. Chris Starwell is our Fox News digital politics editor and host of Power Play on foxnews.com. All right, let me just start with the politics of this, Chris. Why on earth would the president choose to go to Detroit, Michigan today on all days when literally just a couple miles from where he's speaking, the Chinese are buying one of the worst examples of the stimulus money failing this company?
Well, I bet if they'd have known, if the president and the White House would have known that today would be the day that that would be in the news, they'd have picked someplace other than Detroit, and especially just the next neighborhood over, the next township over from the location of this plant that 170 some odd million dollars helped build that plant. The president said that this A123 would be leading the American economy for years to come. Yes, I'm sure that if they had this to do over again, they'd be someplace other than next in the town next door.
So we gave them $249 million stimulus grant. Call it 250 because it's easier to just handle. Okay, so call it $250 million. They spent $132 million of it. They couldn't spend the whole thing because they were failing so miserably. It was clear, you know, it wasn't going to happen. So they spend $132 million of it, including to build 2 Detroit area factories. And now they've gone under. The Chinese are swooping in and buying this company. And that $132 million of the stimulus money that was spent to build up whatever battery making facilities and abilities they had, that's all going to go in the hands of the Chinese.
Right. That's all going away. And as a nice added irony in all of this, whatever money we borrowed from the Bank of China to finance whatever part of the grant that was given to A123 batteries, we still have to pay that back. The taxpayers are still on the hook for paying back the deficit spending portion of that stimulus money, even though it's now long, long gone.
So we borrowed from China so that we could offer a stimulus. We gave part of the stimulus to A123. A123 spent $100 million plus of the money, failed to succeed, and now those assets are going to China too.
Well, when you say it that way, Megyn, you make it sound like it's not very much fun. I mean, my gosh.
China really makes out well in this deal. I don't know about the American taxpayer, though.
They're doing pretty well in all of this. And the problem for the president today is his whole idea is I'm going to go to Detroit and talk about how my economic strategy is working, and that what we need to do is increase taxes on the top earners so that we can take that money and stimulate the economy and, as he says, invest in the middle class, and as he says, keep the tax rates down for those middle class folks, and also engage in the kind of stimulative spending that he says will allow what he's going to talk about today, which is Daimler to make an investment in the German company to make an investment in the United States. It is most unfortunate timing that it comes just as this whole China debacle is playing out next door.
Well, you know what the White House always says whenever the press zeroes in on a failed stimulus attempt, and it usually involves a green energy company that they tried to put money into to sort of prop them up, and then the market said, no, we still want our SUVs. We want our gas guzzlers, and we know it's bad for the environment, but we love them. And they're so big, and they fit so many kids. Anyway, whenever that happens, the White House responds by saying, it's like anybody's investment portfolio. You've got winners and losers. And, we tried, and they're not all going to be great. And of course, the press is going to focus on the ones that lose. And I imagine they would say this is another example of that happening.
This is true. That's what they will say. The problem for the president is that the losers are very famous and they're very notable. Solyndra, and we've had solar firms and other solar firms. A123 battery is now famous because of the China sale going on right now. So for the president, whatever he says about the unfairness of being judged by these failures, the truth is they stick out so much.
Did they change the name from A123, you know, to like the Chinese character?
I'm not familiar with their naming plans just yet, madam.
All right, well, we'll wait to see.